Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and it's Friday, and it's, boy, Easter weekend, so happy Easter to those who celebrate. It's also Passover, so to those who celebrate it as well. Exactly, which I am not going to try to pronounce, because if there's some language I'm worse at than English, it's probably Hebrew, which is really embarrassing. Okay, so look, another good week. Sorry I haven't been here or on the forums as much. I'll explain that in a moment. But no, all is going well. We will have a weekend test. It will be a shorty, 3-hour test on Saturday, noon to 3, on one of our latest servers. So look for an email about that. So let's get started with the top 10. So number 1, hey, testing. Exciting, right? That's what it says. You think we could have been a little more exciting than that. But hey, testing. And it's more than just testing. What it is that over the last few weeks, we've been working on creating additional servers. Why have we been doing that? We've been doing it for a number of reasons. First and foremost, Beta 1. We need all these extra servers, and we'll need extra servers for Beta 1. We also need some additional flexibility. So when I need a server to show a demo, for example, or the team needs another server to do some additional testing, we were getting kind of full. So we have announced one of the new ones is, of course, Hawking. And for those of you who might not know why it's Hawking, obviously it's in reference to Stephen Hawking. When he died, I said I wanted a server named after him. Didn't want to make a big deal of it. You know, we certainly don't promote this stuff. It's just a nice way of, you know, recognizing a man who really doesn't need any recognition from us. The other one is called, now I'm gonna pronounce it wrongly, because Max has been correcting us apparently for the last few days, as we've been calling it Nuada. And it was pointed out to Max today very forcefully, not by me. Hey, did you ever see that movie, Hellboy 2? That's what they called. That's how they pronounced it. But no, so Nuada went online, but according to Max, it is
Nuada.
yeah, Nuada. So you either knew it right or you knew it wrong.
Oh my god.
But so it's Nuada. So for those of you who think that MJ and CSE loves the TDD best, Hawking came first. No offense, we did love him more. Absolutely brilliant man. And what a life. Number two, another work in progress. Oh wait, this is about me. I don't have to read it. I wrote it. Work in progress gathering. So I told you folks over the last couple months I've been getting my head back into the design game, no longer having to spend almost all my time, including my weekends, working on the funding deal. So yeah, I've spent a lot of the last 2 months doing the exact opposite, working on design stuff, working on some coding, so I could jump back in here and do what I needed to do on the design side. So that's what I started doing. So the work for me over this week has been on the gathering calculator. Now, what is the gathering calculator? Well, that's the calculator that is trying to factor in and simulate you people, me people, other people, crafter people, and how much time it would take, to level, for example, a character from just starting a skill to soft cap. And so that was something I've been working on for a little bit, and really a little bit, only a few days. And I actually showed it to Ben just about an hour ago. So that's coming along very well. So I expect by certainly next week I'll be able to move on to that and then get to refining and do some more calculations there. The goal is, of course, for me to also then build a little simulator, which I'll be doing as well over the next few weeks, just so we can run all these numbers lots and lots of times through something more than Excel, which is one of my favorite tools. But for doing what I needed to do, I'd rather just go onto Linux and code some stuff up in C and let it rock. So that's what I'm working on, moving on really well. Numbers look really good. And for one of the first times, or the first time ever, I'm actually able to give a snarky answer that is not snarky at all and quotes a movie and a TV show. And the answer to the question, which some of you are going to ask anyway, so I'm going to ask it ahead of time, is, hey, MJ, how long do you think it's going to take to go from 1% in a skill to soft cap? The answer for basic mining, is 42. Now, what does that mean? That's the real question, and that's something I'm working on, and I'll explain at some point, but it's actually 42. I kid you not. I showed Tyler. I said, look, it's 42.
You're not supposed to tell us what the question is.
But that's, look, they'll just think I'm being snarky and quoting quoting Hitchhiker's Guide again. But yeah, 42. But the good news is that obviously it's all, first pass, and we'll be tweaking it. But it's actually going to be a very useful tool, which will be applied to refining next. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. Number 3, tech, server spin up and server spin down. So what does that really mean? It means that, once again, getting ready for beta 1, we have to be able to spin servers up faster and spin them down, as well as servers going offline without screwing things up for the rest of us. Colin's been working on that and coming along nicely. Number 4, resource node integration with the ECTs. So, thanks to Christina, and this is something that was discussed last week, we in design can now have more control over the resource nodes, where they're placed, how they're configured, etc., etc., etc. So, more beta 1 progress. Number 5, another tech item, repair item skill node. So, yeah, I don't think I need to explain that. Number 6, tech, improved account access security. Yeah, just a wee bit important. So that's something we have to get, ready for beta for as well. Security of information is obviously important to all of us, especially these days. And so we're just upping our game more. Now, fortunately, we have so little of anyone's personal information, which is a good thing. We don't have your credit cards. We don't have your bank accounts. We don't have almost anything about you all, which is a very good thing. And we never disseminate it. Even a better thing. So, like I said, JB's been working on that, and good stuff. Number 7, an art. Hey, we get to art. Updated health bars. So AJ has begun work on updating the styling to the health bars, and he fixed several UI bugs as well. Going on to number 8. More art, updated forums. So yeah, our forums have looked this way for too long, and Charles and James have been working on an update to the forums, so we're making it look better. And James being Mr. Q, not JB. Number 9, another art item, ability SFX. So DB has mostly finished off rehooking up ability SFX after the ability XML refactor here. So now we're working on performance, mixing, and voice limiting issues. Number 10, ability VFX. So Mike as well has mostly finished rehooking up VFX to the starter abilities. We've made some cosmetic improvements, and we have a lot more stuff coming in from him and Michelle as well. So number 11, back to tech. Ability SFX, VFX, audit, and baseline. So, this is really all about looking at all the starter skills, making sure everything is hooked up properly, making sure the VFX is hooked up, making sure the SFX is hooked up, making sure design as well is working as it needs to work for Beta 1. So, going on to number 12, Characters 2.0. So, John finished the TDD medium armor update this week and has begun working on the heavy armor. This makes the characters look obviously much better and makes a better use of the limited poly budget we have for this game. As you folks know, if you want to have 1,000, 2,000 people in a battle, you can't use the same number of polys or tries that you would in a game like, Call of Duty. So we have to be as efficient as possible, and that's an ongoing thing, and it's what John is working on right now. Number 13, new ability animations and class idols. So Joe, who is, the most recent addition to the animation team in January, completed a new Stonehealer unique idol and a new Crushing Annihilation ability animation. Scott finished the Empath unique idol and is working on another pass of Agonizing Remembrance. What a great name. I love that name, Agonizing Remembrance. Sort of like for some people when you flash back to the presidential elections. Oh my God. Anyway, so Sandra's also working on a second pass of the Forest Stalker's Overgrowth shot to add more pizzazz. So last on the list, number 14, Scenario 2 Environmental Assets. So Tyler finished the first pass of the center terrain for the next scenario, and we've got Dion as well, adding rocks and ferns, as well as some new rune assets, which we're using to prettify the new scenario. So that's it. Want to keep it relatively short today, so we'll go to 4:30. May go longer depending on questions, but I don't want to go a full hour. Again, we will be having a short test this weekend on one of our new servers, and that's it.
All right, give us your questions for Mark. Here we go. Shaden Wolf asks, how many new hires since new funding?
That have actually sat in chairs, 3. We don't talk about other new hires until they're actually in the chairs for a little bit, but I can say we're not supposed to be stopping at 3.
Odilvik passes along a question from Rhaegar. Rhaegar would like to know, Mark, have you considered doing BSC Days number 2 leading up to the start of Beta 1?
Yeah, absolutely. Will we have time? I would like to hope that we will. I can't guarantee it. We are doing everything we can to hit the beta date, and who knows, we may have to flip the switch literally first thing on July 4th, but hopefully not. If we have any spare time, we will certainly do a BSC presentation beforehand. And no matter what, we'll have a class presentation as well as a crafting presentation. But whether it will be a full BSC days, that really depends on how much spare time we have.
Unknown RH asks, as one of the reasons for delay in Beta 1 was not being able to hire the right experts or get them to move to CSE location, what is CSE doing to ensure this time around so it does not happen again?
Well, look, it can happen whether you have a big team, hey, Star Citizen, a small team like us, and any team size in between, or even a smaller team. So there's nothing you can do that can guarantee it. What we have done, certainly, and this is certainly as well thanks to the money, has been more aggressive, be more aggressive in hiring than we were. Now, it wasn't like we weren't aggressive before, because we certainly were, but the advantage of having this additional funding, and I think I mentioned this during the week, is that we can, when we were able to up the salaries of the team here to do some things for them that we hadn't planned on doing until later, as well as tell our recruiters that we could up as well the basic salary that we could pay somebody. So that's about as aggressive as we can be right now, other than doing what we're doing, which is just using all the recruiters we can to get people to either move to Virginia or to Seattle. Whether that'll be enough for Beta 1, here's the thing. The odds of anyone coming in at this point and really having a huge impact on Beta 1 is small. Do we think some can help? Absolutely. But we've only got a few months till Beta. So, when new people come in, it's not, this is not the kind of job, and it's not just because of our tech. But when you jump into a studio, it's very hard as a programmer, for example, to immediately contribute to the code base because you have to learn the code base. You have to really spend a lot of time just learning how to do the things that you probably did differently at your last company. And then when you factor in the very special things we're doing here, it takes even longer than that. Now, some programmers can, be more helpful right away than others, not necessarily because they're better programmers, but because they might be doing something that's not quite as connected to the code base, like, I don't know, a tools programmer, for example. Somebody who would come on the network side might not be able to contribute as fast as somebody who would come in on the tools end. So, look, I'd love to guarantee that we'll be in beta on time, but you can never guarantee that. Not unless you're already in beta secretly, and then you release, hey, we're going to do beta in 6 months. Yeah. No, that's kind of not our style.
Sacrix asks, we were promised info coming between the 7.5 million in Beta 1. Can you tell us status of 4th big announcement, beta documents, and crafting document, and when we might see them?
When they're ready. Look, everything Sacrix is based on getting into beta. I am not taking any time from the team, including myself, to get some of that done ahead of time. Or not even ahead of time, getting it done to release. We have 3 months and a couple days. That's it. And, I can't I can't tell you how many times in meetings I and other people say, look, we can't afford to take an hour out of the schedule, if that, or add an hour to the schedule at this point. That's just how it is. Anything that could possibly affect the release of beta in a negative way is being hugely scrutinized by me, by Ash, by Tyler, George, Andrew, et cetera, to make sure that we're not doing anything that makes our life more difficult. So I'm not going to say anything else. Do I think we can get some of that stuff done before beta? Yes, but I'm not promising. Like I said, beta 1 and nothing but beta 1 is what's important to us. We really want to hit this date.
SLP Shop, we just covered the big announcement questions, so I'm going to move on. And Rhaegar's questions about the crafting document, and Kalidus Way, your question is about hiring, so we just covered all those. Where to Grease asks on the YouTube chat, if a guild reclaims a zone, can they put any kind of sign in the border of the territory, like menhirs or something like that? Some people say the menhirs were actually used for that.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to do something like that. I think that'd be awesome.
Odilvik passes along a question from Druge. When Beta 1 starts in July, the Beta 1 document will be nearly a year old. Are there plans to update, revise, or expand the current Beta 1 document
in the near
future?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We that's what I said about having, at a minimum, a talk about crafting, a talk about the classes before we get into Beta 1. All of that has to be updated, and as well as other documentation that has to be ready for you guys for the opening at B1.
Ilari asks, is the new server running on Google's platform already, or still AWS?
Still AWS. We've been doing a lot of testing with Google. They've been great so far. We'll see. It really is a matter, of partially cost, but that's not the big driver right now. It really is, throughput. Do we get the same kind of performance on GCP that we get on AWS? That's really the key. If we get crappier performance, it's not worth it to us, even if we save a little bit of money from doing it. If we get comparable performance, great. Then the money does factor in. And if we get better performance, fantastic. But no, Google folks have been great. They've been very responsive. We're working very closely with them. They, so far seem to care about our business, and certainly also very interested in, making their platform better. So, having folks like us be, the guinea pigs, the canary and all that, certainly doesn't hurt them. And I think it helps all of us down the road, because the more cloud providers there are out there, and the better the services, better the prices will be as well, which is, a factor for all of us.
There are lots more questions in chat. Do you want to give a 5-minute warning now, or
no? We can go for a few more minutes.
All right. Calodex asks, in regards to the upgrade on tiers, are there going to be more tiers, or are the current tiers just going to get more stuff? I'm looking to upgrade so I could use the info.
Yeah, there'll be. I want to say there'll be more tiers, but I don't want to promise until I'm sure we're going to actually have the time to do it and come up with things that don't seem like, hey, just give us much more money, because we're not looking to do that. Certainly, we need to add guild tiers for for builders. We need to do some other things as well for builders. We're not looking to do. I've already referenced them once, so I'm hesitant to reference them again. But we're not looking to come up with new Stormwatch tiers or new island-based tiers that seem far more appropriate to a game that's trying to get kick-started than a game that right now has a significant, obviously, influx of cash. I think that was well said. Yeah, I managed to be. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with that.
I liked it. Olvik says Rhaegar would like to know, will the resurrection system and ability to steal pieces of souls be connected in any way?
Yes.
Denarian asks, hypothetically, once we have picked our class, whom do we bribe to make sure it is the best class?
Oh, I could give a super snarky answer there. Oh, God. Who would you have to bribe? Give call up EA. No, we're not going to, obviously, do stuff like that. I know you know we're not going to do stuff like that. Look, we really want all the classes to be fun. We want them to be different. We want them to be, interesting and exciting to play. And we know we'll only get partially there. I mean, that's just what happens. Now, the good news is, when we get partially there, that allows us then to get better. And that's, why we're doing what we're doing in beta. Why we're starting only with 3 trios. We're not looking to throw in all the classes. We want to get these guys right. We want to get each of the trios for each of the realms in really good shape, and then we can move on from there. Because if we can't get those guys right, there's no point in moving on.
Rocket Mist asks, when abilities say they benefit your party, how many people does that mean? If you had 3 groups of 8, for example.
Yeah, that's a. I was waiting for those kind of questions. We're getting a lot of those during beta. Yeah, that's something that is absolutely to be determined. As you folks know, the question of diminishing returns, of limiting returns entirely to a certain number of people, is one of those ongoing debates within the MMO community. How do you do it? We've said very often that we're not huge fans right now, certainly on saying that, hey, you can only use it on 2 people or 3 people with all the abilities, especially when you start looking at AoEs. But that's something that we're going to be figuring out together, because frankly, until we get in there, until we're playing the game and seeing things, how things work, we can't be 100% sure that we made the right decision, or even close to 100% sure. So, as always, anything is on the table. I mean, it really is. And not because we don't have ideas or we're passionate. It's just that we have to be smart enough to go, we're trying to make a great game, and that means we have to be willing to accept, hey, we went down the wrong path. So, and then change it.
Dante AFK asks, how was your holiday? Where have you been?
Nowhere. I still haven't gone on break. The reason I wasn't here for the update had nothing to do with being on holiday. I want to go on holiday. I've been waiting to get some things done before I went on holiday. I'm there now. I could actually take off a week in the coming weeks. But no, so far, not. And frankly, part of it is me, because I probably could have gone on it last week. But I wanted to wait until some things were really finished. And like I said, I'm also spending a bunch of, time doing other things, side projects, which is why I haven't been on the forums for a while. Literally, I've go home, watch, have dinner with Jan, watch something, and then go right back to my PC and do some design and coding. But hopefully I'll go on break in a week or 2.
Sacrix asks, will friendly air interactions require friendly spell collision? And will healers and archers have interactions in Beta 1?
Well, we certainly want them to during Beta 1, not at the start of Beta 1, but certainly during Beta 1. That's absolutely part of the goal with the air system.
Odelvik says, Tinnis asks, what is the status of Discord integration now that GameBridge has been discontinued in favor of Rich Presence instead?
Yeah, JB has already been in touch with Discord. Everything is fine. We haven't done any work on it yet. That's something that will happen during beta. Absolutely.
Brandon on the YouTube chat asks, how often are the success and failures of other games discussed, and what you can harness their successes and avoiding their mistakes?
Constantly. Look, if you're a designer or a developer and you're not paying attention to the competition, yeah, take your head out of your ass. You always have to look at the competition. This is something that I said God knows how many times at Mythic over the years. Same is true here. You're not, from our standpoint, especially from my standpoint, if you're not looking at the competition, if you aren't paying attention to what their players are saying, you're only doing part of your job, especially if you're in a leadership position. So yes, we discuss things constantly. It's really important to look at the other folks in the industry and players in the industry and figure out what went right, what went wrong. And one of the things I've always said, and this has to do with film or novels or certainly games, that you can actually learn more from a failure than you can a success. Successes can, oh boy, be heavily influenced by just pure luck and timing, where even though that is true for failures, it's not usually as true. So, got to pay attention. Okay, 5-minute warning, folks.
5-minute warning. Nick asks on the YouTube chat, do characters sheathe weapons when they are casting abilities?
Yeah, that's something that we have been certainly talking about and doing. For some abilities, having a weapon out, especially if you have a two-hander and need your two hands, you really can't do that with a weapon. So, yes.
Odelvik has a gathering question. Will gathering resources be more realistic than other games? For example, will butchering a cow give 1 meat or 200 meat?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I have already in my spreadsheet. Will it be more realistic? No. Will it be less realistic? No. It'll be the same total suspension of disbelief that you need in almost any of these games. When you look at gathering, harvesting in other games, including Dark Age and Warhammer and all that, all the crafted skills, none of it makes any sense. Almost none of it makes any sense, not in relation to the real world. Will we be better than some? Probably. Will we be worse than others? Definitely. The idea with the gathering skill or any of the crafting skills really is not to model realism, though some aspects of it try to, but that has to do with the actual physical properties of the item. But instead, to make it fun, to make it balanced, to make it non-economy breaking. That's far more important, to us. So that's how we're looking at things.
It's Z's asks, how many real players will we see in a Saturday Night Siege?
That's up to you all. We want lots and lots. You know what our engine can do. It's a question of how many actual real players show up. One of the things we may do if we're not getting enough numbers is then open it up to the other beta folks. And if we're still getting not enough numbers to really stress it, we might have an open invite weekend or an open invite, shift where we tell people, to come on in and see what happens. But that's really up to you folks. I mean, you've been in our scenarios and you've seen 300 NPCs and players move around really nicely. Do we want 300? No, we want more. We want to see how many real bodies we can get in and then see what happens.
All right, this might be a nice one to end on. J Red Bingo asks, what are you most excited about while working towards B1? Is the high still there when creating games?
Oh God, yes. I love what I do. I love making games. I love creating stuff. So whether it's, a game, a graphic novel, a film script, I just like creating things. I've always liked creating things. This goes back, forever. I would be hard pressed not to be doing this for a living because I really do enjoy it. It has its moments where, as I've always said, you want to bang your head against the wall, the door, the convenient hammer, and go, why did I do this again? But those are very rare. Making a game, getting to work with great guys and gals, like we have here, getting to work with you guys and gals as well is, amazing. It's so much fun. So is the fire still there? Oh my God, yes. In some ways, it's probably, in all fairness and all honesty, I would say I am far more on fire now than, in a good way, than I was, let's say 2008. By the end of that year, I was definitely a bit of post-toasty. By 9, even toastier, certainly. But now, I couldn't, well, you could say you always be happier. I am really happy. I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm looking forward to making a bunch more games after this. I have no intention at all of this being the last game I do. Lots of ideas floating around the studio, some other things floating around the studio. I couldn't be happier, realistically. Again, you can always be happier, but I am really enjoying it. I enjoy this. I enjoy the team, and thanks to people such as yourself, we're able to do this. And thanks to the folks up in New York, we're able to do this as well with less stress. And let me tell you, the less stress part, oh my God, so much better. So, having said all that, folks, as always, I want to thank you very, very much for your support. I want to thank you, as always, as well, for your patience. Again, happy Easter to all of you folks out there who celebrate Easter. We will, and sorry for no April Fool's thing. We decided that, quite frankly, now that we're owned by EA, we didn't think it would really be appropriate to do. Sorry. No, we're not doing anything for April Fools. I have so many good ideas, but frankly, they take time, and
I feel like we needed a record scratch sound when you were saying that.
I know, that would have been perfect. Hey, come on, this is the problem. I improv this stuff. Yeah. I don't think about any of this stuff before we get here. We're not much, as you folks know, new or old backers. We're not much on scripted content or interviews or things where you can tell they've doctored stuff up. We just kind of sit here and talk. But no, we didn't think doing an April Fool's thing, frankly, was worth it. And more importantly, we didn't want to take any time away from the studio. Once again, that mandate, for me, that we have to be focused on Beta 1 and nothing else. But yeah, having said that, again, thanks. And I'll see you all hopefully next week. Remember, test on one of the servers this weekend. 3-hour slot, 12 to 3. Emails to go out today. It's also a newsletter day. Yay, newsletter. Monthly newsletter. So that will also be going out today. So look for us to do what we do so well. Spam your mailbox. And yeah, again, happy Easter to all of you. And I'll see you next week.
All right, see you later.